to start us off, we've got The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
So this is one that I'd always been a little bit curious about. Where I first heard about it was actually what I thought was a James Taylor original song, which turned out to, in the course of me looking it up, I discovered that James Taylor had not written the song.
Yeah, it was Gene Pitney, I believe, was the original singer on the song.
Okay, so although the song was inspired by the plot of the 1962 John Ford Western, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, it was not used in the film.
Yes.
Gene Pitney later explained that Paramount Pictures had paid for the recording session, and he only learned midway through that the movie had already been released.
Oh, geez.
It did give him a top 10, though. So, okay, so and this is like kind of putting the cart before the horse, but like when we watched this, I kept waiting for the song to come up. Like, okay, is it going to be over like the opening credits? Like, I could imagine somebody like like somebody riding into town with that in the background, right?
Oh yeah.
But no. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because movies were like kept in theaters for longer back then that they figured they would goose the residuals with it. I just don't know the logic, because it's not like they were like going to be advertising it for home video release, because that didn't exist until the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very odd. Yeah,
it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, but yeah. So, but the as for the movie, of course, it stars some legends of the screen. We got the Duke himself, John Wayne. You got Jimmy Stewart. You have Lee Marvin as the titular Liberty Valance.
And living up to the description from the Simpsons bit about Paint Your Wagon, he's always drunk and violent, which does fit him well in the movie.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And you also have Vera Miles, who plays the love interest, and she was in Psycho. She played Janet Leigh's sister in the movie.
Oh, the one who came looking for her later.
Right. Yeah. But so basically the movie starts off. It's so we were talking before the show. We weren't quite sure where, because it's not really mentioned where it takes place, but we kind of looked it up, and it's probably either Colorado or New Mexico.
Right. Now they do only refer to probably because they mentioned the Picket Wire River repeatedly mentioned. It was probably Colorado, but it's just not specified. They do amusingly refer to Capital City repeatedly, or the capital. They just call it Capital City or the Capital City, because they just call it Capital City. Then we have our origin story of the unnamed Simpson state.
Yes, I think
there is a place I know called Capital City.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, I've heard of one too, but yeah, I can't remember. I just remember them referring to it as Capital City, but it's in the town of Shinbone, and the movie starts off where Jimmy Stewart and Vera Miles return to Shinbone because Jimmy Stewart's character, Ransom Stoddard, he's a U.S. senator, and they're in town because one of their friends has passed away, and they're there for the funeral. And their friend was named Tom Donovan, and that's John Wayne's character.
I'm just going to say it right now. Donovan, the way they say it, it has a PH in the middle of it, I believe.
Yeah.
It always sounded like everybody had like a speech impediment or something.
Yeah.
like I said, it should have been Donathan or something, right?
Yeah. That's well, Vera Miles, her name was Hallie, not Allie, but Hallie.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, very very interesting choice of names in there. But yeah, so they're in Shinbone for Tom's funeral, and of course, as they're riding into town, they meet up with these news reporters. One of them is an editor, another is a reporter, and of course they're curious because they're like, well, why is a U.S. senator in this little town, and you know, who's this Tom Donovan guy? They never heard of him before, and so then Ransom, he starts to tell the story of when he first rode into town, and we flash back a couple of decades, and he's in this wagon, and they get robbed by a gang of bandits led by Liberty Valance, and of course, you know, Ransom is he's a lawyer, but you know, he's a bit of a hothead, and you know, mouths off to Liberty Valance, and Liberty Valance proceeds to whip him.
Literally, yeah, he carries around a silver-handled whip with him.
Yeah. And so then he gets left out there for dead, but then you know, Tom Donovan found him out there and takes him to Hallie's place. You know, now with the couple, the Swedish couple that was in there, I can't remember if they were her parents or if they were just like people that she worked for. And
let's see, I'm not sure. I mean, the fact that she had absolutely no accent whatsoever. Maybe she was just boarding with them.
Probably, yeah, I think she was. Yeah, she was just born with him and working for him. But yeah, so they take, you know, Tom Donovan takes him to Hallie so they can patch him up, and that's when they find out about that Liberty Valance is coming into town, and then we also meet the town marshal. His name was what was it?
Andy Devine.
Yeah. Andy Devine was the actor. Link Appleyard.
They had such interesting names in this movie. They got too creative.
Yeah. But the town marshal, of course, he's this fat bumbling oaf who just doesn't want to do anything. It's just, as soon as he hears the name of Liberty Valance, he's like, "Oh, Liberty Valance!" Oh.
I'm sure Andy Devine was in many things. The thing I know him best for is, of course, being Friar Tuck in the animated Robin Hood movie.
Oh, the Disney one?
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, so basically the whole movie is kind of has this contrast between John Wayne's character and Jimmy Stewart's character. So, you know, John Wayne's character, he's the typical kind of man in the West, there's a way to handle your problems out here, and it's with a gun, and he's
force is the only law out here.
Right. And of course Jimmy Stewart's the opposite. He believes in law and order, and I don't want to kill anybody. I want him to, I don't want to kill Liberty Valance. I want him to go to jail. And okay.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So as I look at this cover here, I want to say that this particular shot here, like if some Wolverine artists back in the 70s and 80s weren't looking at this for his various civilian appearances.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Like that is so like one of the outfits they had him in quite often.
Oh, that's right. They did. Yeah.
Like very, very similar. And like that is a very Wolverine facial expression there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so John Wayne, and of course the other complication in the movie is you have ourselves a nice little not a love triangle. It's requited in two ways, but not in the other.
Right. Yeah.
An incomplete triangle.
Yeah. So John Wayne's, Tom, he's in love with Hallie, and but she not quite sure how she feels about him. Obviously not too into him. But
like, what else does she have?
Right. Yeah. But then, old Jimmy Stewart comes into town, and she's like, oh, that she's just falls head over heels in love with him. Uh,
Right, because he wants to teach her how to read, and
yeah.
and he's just very different than anybody else.
Yeah.
So I think that this one is worth watching. So I don't think we necessarily need to go blow by blow. And unlike
Right.
our other classic movie, like just existing in popular culture, The Godfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
This movie is, I think that making that song was probably the most brilliant thing that Paramount could have done, because I certainly would never have heard of this one if not for that.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. And then I remember growing up, my parents would occasionally watch this movie. And I always ignored it because I didn't like Westerns. And it was also in black and white. And when I was a little kid, I didn't like black and white movies. And by the way, I wanted to mention real quick, the reason this movie was in black and white, because it came out in 1962. By then, they were making movies in color all the time. The reason it's in black and white is because all of the characters that the actors are playing in this movie are supposed to be in their 20s. and I can tell you, John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart were not in their 20s in this movie.
Yeah, so I'll admit that I kind of find myself thinking, so are they making them up to look younger in the past, or are they making them look older in the future?
Yeah.
I think the answer was probably both.
Yeah.
But this movie has a lot of pathos. Also,
Yeah.
Lee Marvin is great as Liberty Valance, because he's just such a bully and a bastard.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the cast is just full of all these little very simple characters who all get their little moments to shine, and like if they don't contribute to the plot directly, they're at least amusing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a bit of humor in this movie. Yeah. Yeah, like when there's a scene where they're taking the vote because they're trying to decide if they want to become a state or not. And they got to send a couple of delegates to the Capitol, to vote on it. And they have it in the saloon, and the editor of the newspaper, who's also the town drunk.
He's a high functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I get a drink, and John Wayne keeps saying, no, bar is closed.
The bar is closed.
Yeah.
But
no, I highly recommend this movie, even if you don't like Westerns. Because DV, you were talking before the show about how, like, people kind of have this idea about a John Wayne Western, how it's just like how it's very black and white, and good guys and the bad guys and all that, and there's not really nothing much to it, but like that's not the case with this movie.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of there's a bit of moral ambiguity, because there is a lie at the center of this story.
Yeah.
There's a love triangle. There's
politics, and
there's politics, and what I thought. Okay, so one thing I thought was interesting was that at one point that you have James Stewart's character running this little school he set up, and it's like, did James Stewart just have a thing where there had to be a civics lesson in every movie he was in? Between this and Mr.
Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. And there's a not so subtle scene in there. So John Wayne's character has a like a helping hand, I guess you would call him.
Yeah, because I think this would have been after slavery was abolished, but
Pompey, I think was his name.
Pompey, yeah.
He and he's in the school, and he's reciting the opening line of the Declaration of Independence, and as he's standing up to do it, there's a picture of Abraham Lincoln right over his shoulder.
Yeah, extremely blunt.
Yeah. he forgets the part about the word that says where all men are created equal. And he said, "Oh, I forgot that part." And Jimmy Stewart says, "That's okay. A lot of people forget that part."
Yeah, Pompey's an interesting character because like he is kind of the hired help, but everybody seems to like and respect him.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also a scene there where like he goes into the saloon, they're telling him, "Hey, get out of here," and John Wayne's like, "No, he can stay." Yeah.
Uh, well, and also he does trust Pompey to John Wayne trusts Pompey to be his gunman or carry his gun around for him.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's not exactly like modern progressive. If anything, it's just like they just treat Pompey like he's one of the other characters who has foibles that people make fun of a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What was the other thought that I had? Now, I'm going to stick to it. It would be tempting to spoil this movie because there is like in the scene of where Liberty Valance is shot, there is an inconsistency that you're kind of astounded that wouldn't be noticed.
Yeah, even in the Old West. Yeah.
The only thing I can account for with it is that the town doctor is a huge drunk, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that Liberty Valance got shot and died, considering the title of the movie.
Yeah. It's
This is like one of those funny moments where, and they managed to not quite go to bathos because it always feels like very realistic. Like everyone's gathered around Liberty as he's laying there. Doctor says, give me some whiskey," and you think, oh, it's a medical situation. The doctor just is going to try to sterilize the wound or whatever. Doctor takes the bottle, just takes a belt.
Yeah,
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he just looks down and was like, "Yeah, he's dead."
So if I would, we recommend this movie. It is currently available to watch for free on Pluto, or you can rent it at various places like Amazon or what have you.
Yeah, and it might show up on Paramount Plus at some point too. I've seen it pop up there every now and then. So.
Yeah, you do wonder with these old movies how they decide what to put up there because it's not like I guess there's like probably like a small bit of royalties that are still going out for it.
Yeah,
but not for much longer.
Yeah, probably to John Ford's grandkids and great grandkids.
And what the John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart estate. Like I ended up renting it because I forgot it was on Pluto. So it's like, So that was a $4 rental. So probably like 3 cents went to the John Ford estate, and
yeah.
depending on the deal.
Yeah.